Your mind is the most powerful tool in your life. It will either expand you or confine you. So, in today's episode, I want to invite you into the idea of how your mind is limiting you today. So, this has been a question that I've brought to my attention throughout my life at various points. And I have studied the mindset. I've been a student of how powerful the mindset is in your life for over 20 years. So, there was a time many years ago where I opened up my first self-help book. That was 30 years ago. And that planted a seed in me that shortly thereafter, I started devoting a lot of time and energy into improving my mindset. And I quickly saw how this positively impacted my life. And so I have decided to take this even a step further and test the power of my mind with something that I'm deeply passionate about, and that is running. And so I want to invite you, as you're listening to this story, I want to invite you into an opportunity to donate to something that's greater than us, and that is to the American Cancer Society. So this month in December of 2025, I have decided to step into the challenge of running 12 5Ks in the month of December. And to show that I'm already invested in this, I personally donated $25 and I've already done 2 of the 12 5K runs. So it is December 2nd. I ran one yesterday and I ran one this morning. So why am I passionate about running? I have always loved to run. I started running when I was a kid just because I discovered that I could run. I remember my parents telling me that they were at the beach and I would just sit there and run and run and run in circles. And I love to run. I guess I think I had like a hyperactive mind. And so I could just run and I could just keep running. And I remember in 5th grade, I ran the mile run at school, and it was during school. And I remember I was like counting down that day for the mile run. I was so psyched. And I ended up breaking the school record. And I just felt so proud of myself for achieving that and seeing my name up on the records section. And I loved running. And in 7th and 8th grade, I decided to join the track team, which I did continue into my freshman year of high school. Now, I enjoyed running competitively. I was good at it. I was part of the relay team with some older runners when I was in high school, and it was a really fun experience. But that was also a time where I was going from being a child to being an adult. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it, but it is a challenging time. I see, even in my children, the emotional development and the body and puberty changes that happen from 8 to 12 years old. People talk about teen years, but when we talk about those years of puberty, those are key years for setting you up for a successful teen experience. And I think that I didn't develop certain tools to help me navigate the early teen years in the most healthiest of ways. So I established an eating disorder, and it was something that I experienced for 10 years. It peaked around 17, 18 years old, and I started using running in a less healthy way. I was using it as a tool to lose weight and was not eating at the capacity that a runner should to endure a healthy experience. So About this time, I started experiencing knee pain, and that knee pain was on and off for the next few years. I did continue to run in college for leisure. I did run for leisure in my early 20s, and the knee pain continued, and it started to really be intense to the point that I was concerned I was going to damage my knees. So I made a decision to stop running. And that was about 20 years ago, probably even over 20 years, that I decided not to run. So instead, I decided to join aerobics classes. And I did everything from step classes to Zumba. I even got involved in yoga. I loved vinyasa, flow yoga to hot yoga, Bikram. Really felt that ability to connect with my body at a healthier level and to focus on building skills like balance, flexibility again, and also build strength. And I loved how yoga offered different levels of advancement. And at certain points, I would take it to that next level so that I could feel a sense of accomplishment. I even did kickboxing classes. I bought kickboxing gloves and went to kickboxing classes. Around this same time, I also met my husband, and we decided to start learning new sports. So we picked up golf. We started mountain biking, which I really loved, the combination of nature and biking, which always was something near and dear to my heart. I also learned how to ski in my 20s, and that was something that was really fun. We lived up in New Jersey, so we had really long winters, and that was a fun way to get out of the house and spend those cold winter months. A couple years ago, I decided to take my exercise inside and start my day on the stationary bike. I would go for maybe 10 minutes, but it would be at pretty intense intervals. And it was a great way to consistently get exercise and to start my day. Now, around this time, I had had a healthy relationship with food and my body for over 20 years. And I started to feel a calling to continue running. And it started with my son challenging me. He was coming down the stairs and he was mentioning that he was having some aches and pains, and he didn't want to go to soccer practice that day. Now, I know he wants to play soccer at a competitive level. And so I pushed back and I said, look, if you want to play competitively, you need to go to practice even if you're experiencing pain. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, is that why you don't run anymore? And I know, I mean, he's 13. So I know those teen years, they're going to throw things back. But when he said it, it was like someone calling truth on me. And I took that very personally at a level of looking at my beliefs, which I had been working on for so many years, and contemplating if I want to continue to hold this belief that my knees are preventing me from running. And I let it go. And then a few days later, I was sitting in a class with a mentor of mine, and he mentioned that our body goes where our mind goes. And he challenged us to run. He actually challenged us to run a marathon. And I thought, wow, what if I did run a marathon? I always thought that that was something that other people did because I gave up running. But what if I started running again? And what if I really put these tools of how powerful the mind is in practice towards my running experience. And so that's just what I did. So my first day of running was on July 23rd, 2025. And I got up early. My kids were home from school. My husband didn't have to work. And I went out to run. And I ran a block. And that was all I could handle at that point. So I walked a block. And then I ran another block. The next day, I got up and I ran those 3 blocks without walking. Okay. And I just started to add a little bit of distance onto my run each time I went out. Before I knew it, I was hitting a mile, I was hitting 2 miles, I was hitting 3 miles. Within about 9-10 weeks, I had gone up to 8.4 miles. Now, one thing that I did notice once I got past the 5-mile mark is that I was having some pain in my knees. And I did use my self-talk to positively influence my body. And I ended up taking a week off and nursing my knee. But what I also did during this time is I did some research. And I realized that there were some things that I could do to really help set my body up for success. And the 3 areas that I learned that I need to focus on are my form, on my strength, and on my resilience. My form, when I evaluated it, seemed perfectly fine. Where I needed improvement were my strength and my resilience. So I decided to pull back and stay at 3 miles, which worked really well with the time constraints that I had at this point in the year because we were back in school now. And I realized that if I can continue to run at 3 miles to the point that it's easy, then I can increase from there at a slower rate than I did before. In the meantime, I can also lift weights. And so I've been working on my hamstring squats and sit-ups, as well as doing different balance techniques and stretching. So with all this, I have been running 3 miles 3 times a week. About 6 weeks into this new practice of mine, I came across this fundraiser that the American Cancer Society is encouraging people to participate in, which is running 12 5Ks during the month of December. What a wonderful way to give to an organization something greater than myself while doing something that I love. And also holding myself accountable during the last year of the month with holidays and travel and all of that happening. So I invite you today to look at your limited thinking. Where in your life are you experiencing certain constraints? And is it your thinking that's keeping you there? Because many of the times, the only limits that we have are within our mind. I invite you to challenge and to recreate your beliefs around areas in your life that you would love to expand and bring in new results. Because you can do it. I believe in you. And I also invite you to donate to this amazing cause. I am already all in. I've donated $25 and I have done 2 of the 12 runs. It's December 2nd. I ran one yesterday and one this morning. I invite you to support me and support the American Cancer Society in this wonderful initiative of health, well-being, strength, and healing. Thank you so much. Give whatever you can give, $5, $10, or even more. If you have enjoyed my episode, be sure to subscribe and check out this next video.